Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and this is Soft Flow Yoga. Thanks for joining me. For this practice, we're going to be doing some twisting, and we're going to be featuring a pose that's called Half Lord of the Fishes. Now, there's a whole story behind that posture. I won't get into it, but the posture itself is wonderful for conditioning the sides of your body, so some good core work, helping you to rotate your torso, and it also helps to open up the hips. So let's get right into it. So we need some props. We like to use some yoga blocks. So I've got my blocks here. You can also use some hardbound books. I have a strap here. Now, this might come in handy. Now, if you don't have a strap, don't worry about it. And it doesn't have to be too long. It can even be kind of a short hand towel, okay? Because part of this pose has a bind involved. And so we can use a strap for that. And a nice big pillow or bolster. If you don't have that, that's okay. But you may want to have a blanket or a towel that you can sit on and kneel on. We like to begin our practice in seated. So find a comfortable seat, whether it's on your pillow or on your blanket or towel, and just sit up nice and tall. Let's start with some nice deep breaths. Nice full breath in, filling up your lungs. Exhale to completion. Do it again. Nice full breath in. Exhale, release. Very nice. Now just continue with slow, steady breaths here. This wonderful meditative moment. And this can be done with your eyes opened or your eyes closed. Just feeling the breath. Noticing the sound of your breath. In meditation, we're just focusing, concentrating on one object. And in this case, it's the breath. Notice how your body is responding to your breath. That could be the rise and fall of your chest or belly. You might even notice your shoulders rise and fall. Notice the sound of your breath. And if it's a little soft, just turn up the volume so you can hear your breath. Good. And as we continue this connection, when you inhale, just feel the breath rising upward to fill your lungs. So a nice expansive feeling in the chest and heart space. And as you exhale, draw your belly button in towards your spine. It's a light contraction of the abdominal muscles. We call this the abdominal lock. Again, nice full breath in, nice long torso, lengthened spine, breath rising to fill your lungs. Exhale, pull in gently, the abdominal lock. This will also help prepare our bodies for twists and rotations. Very good. Continue with this for a few more breaths. How about 3 more breaths? And after these 3 breaths, we'll start a gentle movement. You're now ready for our moving meditation. Now, when you inhale, extend your arms out and all the way up, reaching towards the sky. Then exhale, extend the arms out, reaching across the room and back down by your side. Good. Again, inhale, reaching out and all the way up. And exhale. Good. And just continue on your own, breathing and moving at your own pace. And some things to pay attention to. When you reach out, there's good effort. It's a stretch, as if you're going to touch the walls and then the ceiling. So really extend. Exhale. Same thing as the arms come back down, like the fingers are just going to touch the sides of the room. Notice the movement of your shoulders, allowing the arms to go up and down. And as you reach up, the lengthening through the sides of your body. We're lengthening the torso. Again, preparing for some of our rotations. Good. Now finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Take your time. And when you're complete, you'll just bring your arms back down by your side. You can just let your hands rest in your lap. Let the body relax. All right, we're going to do some side bends while seated. And when we extended the arms into the air, I wanted you to notice the lengthening through the sides of the body. We're going to continue that with some side bends. We can do that seated, so our blocks or stacked books can come in handy here. You don't have to do this. I'll show you an alternative. You can just use the floor. All right, just having the blocks next to you, it's like having an armchair. So I've got my right hand, I'm just going to be mirroring you, so my right hand initially on the blocks. But you might even bring your elbows down to the blocks, or even your hand or elbow to the floor, just depending on how much range of motion you have on the side of the body. Let's just start with the hand. So hand here just for support. Still sit up nice and tall initially. We're going to take the left arm out and with an inhale, rise up or reach up. And exhale, I'm just bending over towards the right. And maybe this is the end of the pose for you. And so the right hand is just supporting you here on your mock armchair. Or you can bring the elbow if you're able to go a little bit deeper. I think this is where I'll stay. Now you could just use the floor, hand on the floor, but since the floor is a little bit farther away, it might be a little bit too deep to take the elbow all the way down to the floor. But this is fine right here. You can even bring this hand down, maybe just lightly on the head, and just feel that maybe the elbow lift up towards the ceiling. And that just creates a gentle pull, a little extra stretch down through the left side of the body. As you're able, breathe into this side as if you're trying to breathe into the left lung or the left rib cage. Inhale, expand. Exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, expand. Exhale, release. All right, freeing the hand. I'm going to inhale, pushing into the blocks to help lift myself up, reach up, nice and tall through the spine. We'll relax this arm as we exhale and bring the arm down to neutral. I'm just going to circle this shoulder a few times just to help it find relief. All right, let's do the other side. So a nice gentle side stretch. I'm just bringing my blocks to the other side. I'll start with the hand. I'll probably move down to the elbow. We'll take the arm, right arm out, and with an inhale, reaching straight up. Nice and tall. Exhale, start to tip over. I'm just going to pause here initially so the body gets used to the initial stretch on this side, and then gracefully bring arm or forearm down to the blocks, starting to deepen that stretch. I'm just going to bring this hand down and let it rest lightly on the head. Point upward with the elbow. Again, just increasing the stretch through the right side of the body. You can just hold like this or add those deep breaths. Inhale for the lungs and rib expansion. Exhale. Again, breathing in to expand. It's like you're filling up a balloon. Exhale, release. Nice. All right. Let's free the hand. Inhale, reach all the way up. Nice and tall. Exhale, arm returns to the side. There we go. A little circle with the shoulder for that release. Excellent. Alrighty, let's add on. We're going to stay in our seated position. I'm just going to turn this way so you can see. We're going to move into our mild back bend, our seated back bend. So we'll bring the hands behind us. Just prop yourself up onto the fingertips. Roll the shoulders back or pull the shoulders back. You may start to feel a little engagement in your upper back body, a little squeeze of the muscles there. And then tip the chin up, and we're ready to go. Inhale, just press fingertips into the floor. You're going to feel an energy move up the arms and shoulders. You're also breathing in to fill the lungs. Nice expansive feeling, perhaps even a stretch quality across the chest from shoulder to shoulder. Exhale, squeeze shoulder blades together behind you and pull belly button in towards spine. So lots of sensations in this seated back bend. Again, inhale, fill it all up. Exhale, squeeze shoulder blades, draw belly in. 2 more breaths like this. And then we'll lower the chin a little bit. Walk the hands towards self to sit up nice and tall. And we'll just bring the hands around to the front, once again just resting them on your lap. And just hold for a moment as everything comes back to neutral. Okay, now we're ready for our forward fold. We're going to add a little something to this forward fold. So actually I'm going to scoot back just a little bit. Now if your legs are crossed, we're going to uncross the legs. I come to cobbler's pose or bound angle pose. So the soles of the feet are together here, knees are bent, legs are opening, so we have a nice inner leg stretch. You might initially just start with your hands on your shins or ankles or your feet. Mine are kind of at my ankles here. You want to be able to sit up nice and tall. So inhale, feel the length of spine, energy moving through the crown of your head. Exhale, you're going to pull belly in. And start to hinge forward from the hips, but lead with your heart and chin forward a little bit. Now I'm getting a little closer to my feet so I can reposition my hands to kind of scoop up the toes. Inhale, still extending through the spine at this new angle. Exhale, hinge forward a tiny bit more. I'm going to pause right about here. Now I do have sensation in the inner legs, also maintaining the length in the torso, but we're also going to round the back here. So you can start by lowering the chin and start to fold forward with a rounded back. Take your time, move slowly, and you don't have to go too deeply here. I'm going to pause here. I probably could go further downward, but don't need to, because that would feel like I'm going too far and forcing the stretch. And we certainly don't want to do that in soft flow. We like to dial it back a little bit and maybe work our poses to about 60 to 70%. So we can hold them, but still reap the benefits of the posture. Okay, now you can stay here or add this bonus. Now I need to fold just a tiny bit more. It's really just extending the arms out in front. I just have my palms on the mat here. And what we want to do is start to create somewhat of a length again through the sides of the body. But it'll kind of initiate in the arms, kind of in the armpit area here, and the latissimus muscles, which are back muscles. Now what you could do if you feel like you aren't able to keep the hands here, maybe just hold on to the sides of your mat, like so. With the chin lowered and the back rounded. And breathing deeply now into the back body. I can feel the curvature of the spine and that lengthening through the arms. I'm going to reach out a little bit more towards the front corners of the mat. Now I'm right about that 70%, probably starting to move beyond it. So I'm not going to hold this too long, but I can certainly feel these lengthening sensations. Let's take one more breath. All right, hands onto the mat. I'm just going to kind of walk my way back up. Here now, my chin's still lowered, my back is still rounded. So I'm just going to lift my chin, start to feel the re-extension of the spine, and then continue to sit up nice and tall. Now I really do feel that stretch in the legs. I can even see and feel it. My legs open up a little bit more. So I'm just going to take the legs forward here and just rest them on the heels just to close that sensation of the hips because they were open. Now we're just kind of bringing them back to neutral and just heels on the floor with the knees bent. Maybe just hold on beneath the knees just to lift yourself up. Let's do something here because this will also prepare us for our featured pose, half Lord of the Fishes. So let's extend the right leg out in front and then keep the left knee bent, foot onto the floor. Now, if you're able to draw this foot in closely, go ahead, but just be aware of how this feels on your own knee, because if this doesn't feel good in this deep knee bend, you can keep the foot farther forward and just hold on to the shin or the hamstring. I'm just going to hold on to the shin with the foot out front as a way to lengthen the spine and sit up nice and tall. Now I'm going to flex the right foot just to bring energy to that leg. And just a couple breaths here. Very simple. Okay, here, again, just some preparation for a pose we'll be doing later. Let's do the other side. So soften. We're going to extend the left leg now, flexing the foot to engage this leg. Now, if you need to keep that knee slightly bent, that's fine. I'm going to draw the right knee in. Keep the foot on the floor. Now I'm going to draw the foot in a little bit closer, but still holding on to the shin here to help sit up nice and tall. It's like I'm bringing my heart or chest closer to the thigh. Now again, if you need to modify this, go ahead. You can certainly scoot the foot forward just so it doesn't feel too binding in your right knee. 3 breaths. Very good. All right, we're going to release here. We're going to make a transition to hands and knees. So I'm just going to swing the legs around, come to hands and knees. I'm going to use my blanket for some padding for my knees at the back end here, hands at the front end. So use the padding as you need. Starting here in this tabletop posture, moving to cat and cow. It's 2 postures that flow together. Inhale, tip the chin up, look forward, even feel like your heart is moving forward, tipping the tailbone back, or actually a rocking of the pelvis, so you can feel the creation of the back bend. The belly even feels like it's dropping towards the floor. This is cow pose. Again, breathe in. Exhale, we're going to tuck the pelvis under. Feel the belly button pull up towards spine for that core engagement, which causes the back to round and chin dips down towards chest. This is cat. Reverse it. Inhale, feel the pelvis tip back, belly drops, creates the back bend, heart and chin forward. I'm going in slow motion just so you can see what's happening here. But move and breathe at your own pace. Good movement through the hips, undulation through the spine. We might even add a circling of the hips. I'm first moving, for me, I just naturally moved into a counterclockwise circle. So whatever direction you start with first, maybe 2 or 3 times, and then certainly go in the other direction, just to get this mobility in the hips. Twisting not only affects the torso and the abdominal system and your spine, but also affects the hips in a good way. I'm doing 1 or 2 more cat-cow movements. Join me here. And then we'll pause in a tabletop posture as we make our next transition to downward facing dog. So I'm going to move our pad out of the way. Come back to hands and knees. We'll start by sending the hands forward slightly so the wrists and hands are out from underneath the shoulder if we drew a straight line up and down. Spreading out the fingers here to stretch out the fingers. I'm pushing the palms into the mat to flatten the hands. And as I push, I can see and feel the length and strength in my arms. We want to maintain that. Tuck your toes under. Let's do 1 more cat-cow flow. Inhale, cow. Exhale into cat pose. Hold cat.
Then lift your knees off the floor. Make sure your toes are tucked so you can lift the hips into the air. Your chest and head will sink naturally between the arms. I like to take one tiny step forward with the feet and take my hands slightly wider on the mat. This just makes a little bit more space in the upper body, but by stepping forward, it allows the hips to lift a little higher. So we have this nice A-frame, a nice high mountain peak. Knees can be very bent here, and with knees bending, it also keeps the hips mobile, which is good. That allows us to send the hips up, sink the chest. Make sure you're pressing firmly into the mat with the hands, especially towards the thumb and index finger on both hands. Now let's take a few steps forward until the feet are at the center of the mat, flat on the ground. Slide your fingertips toward your toes and you'll be in a forward fold for a moment. Ready to come out of this deep stretch? With an inhale, slide the hands up to the shins or knees or even your thighs and pause when you're halfway up. So this is half forward fold. I'm just shifting my body a little bit so I'm really balanced on the feet. I'm not falling towards my toes. I'm not sitting back into the heels, but finding center. And getting a good sense of your torso parallel to the floor. My hands are just resting on my shins here. Just feeling the energy in the legs. And as I get ready to stand, I'm going to shift the weight back into the heels. Climb up the legs to my thighs. As I push into the thighs, just lifting the chest here to about 45 degrees. And I'm kind of in a chair pose. Holding here, a couple of breaths. We will be using this pose as we do some twisting. So this is a little bit of a preview. And then press into the thighs with the hands to help you stand up all the way. So straight legs, finishing by extending both arms straight up into the air. There's our stretch. Exhale, arms down to your side. Very good. Let's circle the shoulders again, maybe a few times backward and a few times forward. All right, let's go through our half salute to the sun, which is our forward fold, and we come back up. So standing near the top of your mat, together, we'll inhale, extend the arms into the air. Remember that good effort. Exhale, take your arms out to the side, spread your wings, bend your knees to sit back into that imaginary chair. Just bring your hands to thighs. So returning to that chair-like position briefly, use the hands and just slide down the shins as you fold. You'll pass parallel and maybe go a little deeper. Maybe fingertips reach the ankles, maybe even your toes. And even release the head, look down, or even look between your knees towards the wall behind you. Now inhale and slide the hands back up to the shins so we can find that half forward fold again. Solid on the feet, centered on the feet, good knee bend, torso about parallel to the floor. Continuing the standing process, shifting the weight into the heels. I'm bending the knees to lower the hips a little bit. Walk the hands to thighs, push into thighs, return to this chair-like pose. Still a lot of strength here in the legs. Then drive the heels into the floor as you press hands into the thighs to stand up tall. Let's finish that extension by reaching both arms up. We breathe in and exhale, arms return to your side. And if you want to, some more circles. Very good. Let's do our variations of Warrior One. This will also help the hips. We might even transition from a Warrior One to a Warrior Two because we do want to get into the hips. Some nice openings there. So once again, standing near the top of your mat, mountain pose. We like to start with soft knees, so we're ensuring that we're not locking the knees. Shift your weight into your right foot. Knee is bent, we have a nice connection there, thigh is engaged. I'm shifting forward slightly, so I do feel the gripping of the mat with my toes. That way my left foot feels light, I can lift the heel and start tapping it back until it just naturally stops. It doesn't go too far here. Using my hand and arm as a guide, I'm going to turn my leg, but the arm, just showing you with the arm, it turns out a little bit, so I can get the whole foot onto the floor. And then find your center here. Place your hands on your hips. You'll press your pelvis down or imagine you're pushing your pelvis down. At the same time, Torso and spine lifting up. Nice space creation in the belt line. So you can start to turn forward. Hold this feeling here. Now we're already getting into the hips a little bit. A bit of a stretch in this left hip flexor. Plus with that foot stepping back, it's getting an outer rotation. It's slightly turning outward. Now inhale, extend the arms out and up. Good reach. And the exhale, bend elbows to 90 degrees. So this is our variation of Warrior One. Maybe 3 breaths here. Finding balance. Okay, since the feet are separated here. Allowing this light hip opening to occur. Now inhale, re-extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, arms out and down. Go ahead and bring hands to hips. Then we're going to shift the weight into the front foot so I can lift that back heel, and all I'm going to do is just step back. So a little bit more distance between the feet. Now, inhale, re-extend the arms into the air. Moving into Warrior Two. As I exhale, I'm going to turn torso towards the left side of the room and the arms come down to parallel. Pause for a moment because we're going to continue, at least I need to continue opening up through the legs. So I feel a little bound up here. If you can see my foot, my left foot's kind of turned in. I like to turn it outward and just freeze up the space here. That's the hip opener. You want to be sure your right knee and toes are still pointing forward. This right arm, same thing. Fingers are reaching forward. Let's match it up with the back hand here. So even just holding a Warrior Two posture, certainly some endurance up top, but some hip opening down below. Let's take it even further. We're going to shift forward a slight bit here, angled upper body. I'm going to bring this right hand down to the thigh. Now, just like we did in that seated position, we did a side bend. So when you inhale, reach this left hand up into the air. Exhale, kind of reach over my head slightly. Even bring this hand lightly to the head, point with the elbow, and just by doing that, I can just feel that extra stretch sensation through the left side. I feel a little bit more space creation here, which is really nice. Okay, so kind of a side angle pose variation. So we didn't have to go down too low, but we've added this side bend. So I'm going to free this left hand and just turn and bring the hands to the thigh. Shifting weight into this front foot so I can lift that back foot. Actually, what I like to do is do a little rocking here, just a little momentum. Basically, I'm just going to step the left foot to the top of the mat. All 10 toes are pointing forward. And look, we're back into that chair-like posture we did earlier. And just drive the heels into the floor, press hands into the thighs, stand up tall, reach out and up, lengthening through the entire system. Exhale, arms return to your side. Good, let's just do the same thing, other side. We're in mountain pose. Soften your knees. Shifting weight now into the left foot. Leaning forward, a little grip action with the toes. Right foot feels light, so I can lift the heel, tap it back until it naturally stops. With the right leg, I'm turning it out and then down, shifting so I'm centered. Hands on hips, pushing pelvis down, torso lifting, torso facing forward. Initially, this is that right hip flexor stretch. We've got a little bit of balance creation in this lunge. Inhale, let's extend the arms into the air. Exhale, bend elbows to 90 degrees. We'll hold here for about 3 breaths, continuing to feel the balance of our pose with the slight foot separation. Right leg slightly turned out for the hip stretch. Let's transition to Warrior Two. Inhale, extend the arms into the sky. Exhale, arms out and down, hands to hips. Shifting weight forward into this front foot so I can free up the right foot and just take a step back, widening that stance. Inhale, extend the arms into the air. Now I'm still facing forward, same direction as my left knee. Exhale, now turn your torso towards the right side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. If you need to, make an adjustment with this back leg. I like to turn it out slightly so I have a little bit more space in the right hip flexor region. Left hand, fingers, knee and toes still pointing in that same direction. Here's our warrior two. Endurance in the upper body, hip opening in the lower body. Now in a reach towards this left hand to angle the upper half of the body, I'm bringing left hand to thigh, so we're moving into that side angle pose. This is my support. With an inhale, extend the right arm up into the air, straight up. Exhale, reach overhead. And we get that nice side bend. I'm going to pause here. I'm going to bring hand lightly to the head. Point towards the ceiling with the right elbow. There's that stretch. Breathe deeply. Just like we did in seated. Breathe into the right set of ribs and that right lung. Ready for the release. Free the right hand, turn, bringing hands to the thigh. Alrighty, I'm kind of revving up the body so I can step forward, feet together, come to that chair pose. Press into the thighs to help you stand up tall. Inhale, take both arms up just to finish this long straight line in the body. Exhale, arms to your side. Very good. Maybe some circles with your shoulders. Very good. Okay, now we're going to come back to that chair pose. We're going to add a twist, a very light twist. So I'm going to use a block. Now you can use a block. It could even be a pillow, okay? Something that you can hold on to, not too heavy because a book might be too heavy. So something soft. It could be like a nice small cushion or pillow, or even a rolled up towel. And just place it here between the thighs. You want to have the knees free because you're going to sit. Okay, so we're standing tall. I can feel the energy of the inner thighs holding on to the block, and that's what we want. We're moving to center. Okay, we do a lot of centering work, pulling belly button in towards spine, legs pull in towards center or towards spine. Right there. Good. Now inhale, extend the arms up into the air. Exhale, take chair pose. So we're just sitting back. You don't have to sit back too far. Arms are extended initially, and then you can bring hands to heart center. So we're in that chair-like position, kind of like when we had the hands on thighs. Now I'm not sitting back too far this time, and you don't have to either. I'm going to turn to face you, but I'm going to mirror you. So we're here together. We're going to twist to the right. Inhale. Lengthening through the spine as you inhale. When you exhale, pull belly button in, squeeze your block, and start turning your torso as if it was a dial or like a screw or a cap on a bottle. That's twisting to this side. Meanwhile, the bottle stays level while the cap twists. So from the waistline down, everything stays in place. Upper body is that bottle cap that's rotating. Now the hands can stay here, but if you need a little extra support, you might even bring this left hand to right thigh. And the right hand maybe even behind you, either to your hip or your low back if you can reach behind you. And if your hand is on your low back, you might notice that it's flat, and you want it to be flat. If it doesn't feel flat, see if you can manipulate the legs a little bit to find that flatness. What's helping it to be flat is the hips are pretty square and you're holding on to the block. Now I'm really feeling this, strong legs, and we're getting that slight rotation. Okay, I'm going to bring the hands around to the front, hands on thighs, again pressing into thighs to help stand up. Feel that full length by taking the arms into the air and then back down. Good. Same thing other side. Here we go. Let's start with the arms, out and up, inhale, exhale, chair pose, hold. So outstretched arms initially, so this is our chair position, but then we'll bring hands to heart center, just to relax the shoulders a bit and prepare for the twist. Inhale, extend through spine. Exhale, pull belly in, nice engagement, squeeze your block or whatever you have between the knees, and we're twisting to the left. Upper body, like that bottle cap, turning. Now you don't have to turn too far. Notice I'm not turning too far, nor am I not too low in this posture. For more support, I'm going to bring this right hand to the outer left thigh, left hand to hip or to low back. Notice if it's flat, and just hold here. I just feel a bit more secure here just with the arms down and just kind of holding in place. And just noticing this rotation that's happening here. And even though the hips aren't moving, which is ideal, but they are being affected because you are twisting. Now, what may happen sometimes, if you twist too far, things shift like this. And this is what we're avoiding. So this is more of a turn of the body rather than a twist of the bottle cap. Okay, let's bring the hands around to the front, hands on thighs, push into thighs, helping you to stand. Let's get taller, stretch, reach up, inhale, exhale, arms down to your side. Very good. All right, so that's our standing twist. We're still working our way towards half Lord of the Fishes. We still don't know what that pose is. It is a seated posture, and it has a rotation. We're getting there soon. Let's keep moving. I'm going to bring the block down to the floor there. Meet me here in mountain pose. Let's move through a sun salutation. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, spread your wings, shifting your weight back into the heels, bend your knees, lower the hips, and the chest comes down, maybe hands land on thighs, and then slide down to your forward fold. As you're able, release the head, neck, and shoulders, look between the knees towards the wall behind you. Inhale, slide the hands up the shins a bit to help extend the spine. Exhale, keep folding, bend the knees more so you can reach the floor with the hands. And then start walking the feet to the back end of your mat. Take your time. Palms are now flat, toes behind you. Lower the hips, but not too low. I like to come to shoulder level. Breathe in. I'm pressing into the floor with the hand-strong arms. Exhale, bend the knees and float the hips into the air. Now for me, the feet feel like they're too far away from the hands. I feel like I'm going to slip. So I'm going to step forward a little bit, get the hips up higher, then my hands feel more firm on the floor. Then I can relax the head and chest. Let's move into our second variation of Warrior One. I like to start by stepping the left foot to center on the mat for balance. Pick up the right foot off the floor. Inhale, extend the right leg straight back. See if you can straighten the leg. Exhale, now bend the right knee. Knee comes in underneath you towards your chest, shifting forward until your shoulders are over your wrists. And then set the right set of toes down. The heel will be lifted. I'm going to set the left knee down. Now, if your weight is forward, so you can see my shoulders are over the wrists, I'm going to pull back, taking the weight off the hands. I'm going to free my right hand, go get my right ankle, pick up the foot, and bring it up a little higher. This is going to create more distance between the feet for Warrior One. Now I can put weight back into the hands, lift the knee, start to shift back again, but turning this left leg out so I can get the heel on the floor. Walk the hands back to get more pressure into the floor with this back foot. I like to rise to fingertips to start to feel that extension of the spine. And again, just start crawling up the leg. Hands to thigh, torso, lifting and lengthening about 45 degrees. Making sure I have balance so I can free the hands. So I'm not weighted here, but finding that balance. Free the hands, reach forward. Inhale, rise up. You're looking forward and finishing here with an exhale. So our second version of Warrior One. So now the arms are straight up, more distance between the feet, and you might even feel more in this left hip flexor. Warrior Two, here we go. Breathe in, exhale, turn torso towards the left side of the room. Arms come down to parallel. I like to make this transition. Okay, opening out that leg, really settling into that nice hip opener. Right away to side angle. Reach out. I'm going to go a little deeper here. Reach out a little bit more. Now I'm going to bend this arm to about 90 degrees and rotate, and even bring the forearm down to the thigh. You can still use your hand if this feels too low. And this left arm reaches up and overhead. Nice extension. Staying here for me, don't really need to bring the hand down. You're welcome to, but I can just still feel that left side body stretch. Here we go. Breathe in and exhale. Careful turn. And maybe bring hands down to the floor if you can reach. Take your time. Plant the hands. You're going to rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. It just turns the leg in, squares out the hips. Push hands into the floor, strong straight line. Slide right foot back, there's plank pose. Soften the knees, send your hips into the air. Adjust the feet, adjust the hands, and settle into your downward facing dog. Very good. Let's do the other side. Stepping the right foot to center for balance. Pick up the left foot. Inhale to extend the left leg straight back initially. With the exhale, then we'll bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you. Shifting, shoulders over wrists. Set the toes down. Set the right knee down. Move away from the hands, pulling back so you can free the left hand. Let's go get the left foot. Pick it up, place it up a little higher. Replant the hands, pressure in the hands so we can lift the hip, lift the right knee, turn that back leg out, press heel into the floor. Walk the hands back so we can find center and balance on both feet. Rising to fingertips to extend spine. Start climbing up the leg, both hands to thigh. Torso about 45 degrees, straight spine. Making sure there's balance on the feet. So you can free your hands, reach forward and up as you inhale. Exhale, finishing the lunge. Made it to our warrior one. Let's hold for a moment. Nice lengthening through the sides of the body. Right hip flexor stretch is happening. Here we go. Breathe in. Exhale, open to warrior two. Arms to parallel. Adjusting my back leg and foot. Opening the hips. And ready for side angle. Reach out, angled upper body. Hold for a second. Turn or bend elbow, left elbow to 90 degrees. Lower the forearm to the thigh. If you can't reach it, just use your hand. And then inhale, right arm up and overhead so we can get that right side body stretch. One more breath. Now, because I'm a little lower, what I'd like to do is bring my left hand to the thigh, lift a little bit, so I have a little bit more space to rotate, to turn to face forward, hands to thigh, so I can start to lower back down. Hands to the ground initially. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you so the hips are square. Push firmly into the floor with palms, strong arms, slide left foot back, plank pose. Hold. This is for strength. And then we'll bring knees to the floor. Excellent. Let's sit back briefly into hero pose where your hips come down to your heels. You're going to feel a stretch in the knee, shin, top of the foot, ankle. But we're going to come out of that. Let's sit to the side, swing the legs around to the front, and extend the legs. Now I'm going to bring in my strap. Like I said, we might be using a strap for this posture, but you don't have to. All right, we're going to start in staff pose just to get some extension through the entire body. So straight legs, flex your feet to bring energy to the legs. Hands to the floor by your hips, pushing into the floor to help extend spine nice and tall. Roll the shoulders back, squeezing shoulder blades together. Inhale to feel the length through torso and legs. Exhale, pull belly button in. Do that one more time. Very good. Go ahead and soften. All right, let's set this up. Let me see what is going to be the best way to set this pose up, because there's several ways we could do the pose. All right, why don't we try this? You're going to bend, let's bend the left knee. Actually, let's bend both knees. So the heels are on the floor like this, okay? We did this a little earlier. So just bending the knees, flex feet, heels on the floor. Now what we'll do, we're going to imagine the left leg and foot is like a piece of thread. In the space here, underneath the legs, eye of the needle. So we're going to take our thread, that's the left foot, thread it through the eye of the needle, right there. So the foot's on the other side of the mat. And as you're able, bring this left knee to the floor. If you can, have it point directly forward, but it doesn't have to, okay? So we've got that part. I'm going to sit up nice and tall. So all I did was just lift and just kind of readjust my seat. Now, as far as the placement of this right foot, we can keep it on the outside, okay, of the leg here on the shin and just hold yourself up like so. Or if you're able, pick up, I'm going to lean back, pick up this foot, step over this left knee. Now I'm kind of leaning to my left, so I need to adjust the seat again so I can sit up nice and tall. Alrighty, and just hold on to the shin to help you sit up nice and tall. Alrighty, this is the hip work. You might feel this in the outer hips. We're getting ready for half Lord of the Fishes. Okay, it's half because it's basically half of a pose, basically, because we're doing one side and then we'll do the other side. But Lord of the Fishes, there's a whole story behind that. Now, here's where we're going to start to rotate. You want to hold onto the shin with both hands. Nice extension. Now, I want to take my right hand, place it behind to help prop myself up. Inhale to get taller. Exhale, I'm just rotating a little bit more, okay, towards the right side. Now, as far as the placement of my hands, you can just keep them where they are. Left hand just on the knee or shin, my right hand behind. Another thing you could do is take this left arm, wrap it around the knee so it's kind of like hugging the knee, which is going to hold you in your twist. Another variation is to take the left arm up into the air like this and hook it on the outside of the knee. Now this is pretty intense for our soft flow, okay? And it may really intensify the rotation because I can certainly feel this in the spine and really in my hips. So this might be a little bit too much. So I usually like to hug by wrapping the arm around or just hold on. Now I told you that there was a binding aspect. There's another deeper variation. So you can use a towel or a strap. In this case, I'll just use the strap. Okay, so basically, let's see. I'm going to thread the towel or strap through this little space here. I want to get it behind me because I'm going to reach with the right hand and hold on to that strap. This hand, left hand, will hold on to the front over here, hugging the knee with the bent arm. So we've created a bind. So basically what I'm doing, just to deepen the bind, I'm just walking my hands as if the hands were walking towards each other to meet, to help hold myself in place. And there's the binding quality of this pose. Now, if we didn't have the strap and we had all the flexibility in the world, this left arm would thread through that space of the right knee, and this right arm behind would reach all the way around and my fingers would meet. In this case, I cannot, and maybe you aren't able to either, but maybe you can. But that's why we can use that little towel or a strap here. This is half Lord of the Fishes, so lots of variations. Typically, if you see pictures of this pose, it'll be this elbow on the outside of the knee, hand in the air, this hand kind of wrapped around, or hand on the floor for a prep or a prop. Okay, we're going to unwind. I'm going to unwind the face forward. I'm going to move this strap out of the way, lean back so I can uncross the legs here. Let's straighten it out, stretch it out, sit up nice and tall. So getting out of that binding, twisting position. And just notice, so remember what we just did. Kind of get into this hip opening, really affected the outer hips, affected the rotation of the torso, and that's the twisting practice. Let's do the other side. You may be able to see it a little bit better because I'll be twisting towards you. Go ahead and lean back initially. Let's bend the knees, just like we did here. Heels on the floor, sitting up nice and tall, because we do want to have that extended spine as we initiate the rotation. Okay, we're going to thread the needle here with the right foot, taking it through like so, as you're able, getting that knee to the ground. Now, this left foot, I'm just going to drag it in. Remember, it can stay on the outside, and that might help unbind the hips, meaning it'll take some of the sensation out of the hips if stepping over is a little bit too much. I'm going to step over. So you can kind of see and feel. So I can really sense how this affects the outer hips. Sitting up tall initially, holding onto the shins, so I can sit up tall. Brace myself by bringing left hand behind. Okay, still holding on to my the left knee with my right hand, nice and tall. Now this really could be the end of the pose. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, I'm pulling belly in and a slight rotation to my left. And I'm just going to stay just like this. This is perfect for me. Notice what's happening in the hips. Notice your spine in rotation. If you can go further, yeah, you can hug the knee in. Okay, it might even take you further into this rotation, or you can go for that bind. Okay, use the towel or the strap. Let's settle into this, or you can even do kind of the typical version that you'll see in pictures of Half Lord of the Fishes. Three more breaths. When we're complete, we'll just take a breath in just to feel some extension of spine. Exhale, start to unwind facing forward. I'm going to bring the hands behind so I can lean back so I can free up the legs and extend the legs. I even like to shake them out a little bit. Even rub the outer thighs and hips. Very good. So that's our featured pose. Let's move into our closing practice. You may want to have some blocks nearby for this one. All right, I'm going to scoot forward so we're sitting in the center of the mat. Go ahead and roll down onto your back. Let's hug the knees into chest. Even some movement here. This feels really good, actually. Circling both directions just to get into the low back, especially after those twists. We're going to move into a back bend. We like to do a supported bridge pose. So we plant the feet into the ground. Make sure they feel solid on the ground. Inhale, lift the hips high enough so you can slide your book or blocks underneath you. And then sit. And as you sit, you can relax. I like to get the shoulders a little bit underneath so you can feel a little bit more opening in the chest. Relax the arms down to the side. And just take some deep breaths here. Starts to open up through the front body. I like to take the feet wide. That's just me. It just feels good on my back and hips. A nice relieving posture, especially after kind of that binding rotation we did. A few more breaths here. We're going to finish with one more twist and we'll be at the end of the practice. So maybe a couple more breaths in your bridge pose, and of course you can stay here longer if this feels good to you. When you're ready, just press feet into the earth. Feel the engaged legs, flex the glutes, lift the hips, move your books or blocks out of the way, and then come back down to the ground. Hug the knees into chest. And we'll twist. I'm sending the knees, both knees over to the left side, right arm out to the right side. So it really kind of mimics some of the other twists we did, like that chair pose with the twist. But lying down, you might find that you're rotating a little bit more, a little further. But if it's too much, if you feel like you're over-rotating, you may want to place something maybe between the knees, maybe a rolled up blanket or towel or a block or a book like that. Or even underneath that bottom leg. But feel the relaxation. Settle into the pose. 2 more breaths. When you're ready, carefully return to center. We'll pause here. And then we'll take the knees over to the right side and extend the left arm to the left side. Same thing, if you need a prop underneath that bottom leg or between the knees, please feel free, just so you can feel more comfortable, more relaxed, so you can settle into this rotation. We'll take 2 more breaths here. After your second breath, slowly return to center. You might give yourself 1 more hug and then extend the legs out onto the floor in front of you. Maybe even extend the arms behind you. Another nice stretch like we do in the standing extended mountain pose. Just to create good space in the body. And then exhale, let's bring the arms down to your side. Maybe turn the palms up and let the body fully relax into the earth. I can feel my feet relax and naturally fall open, which is also creating this outer rotation in the legs. Nice softening in the hips. Relaxing the back body. Feeling heavy. Adjusting my head. Turning inward, focusing on breath. We've made it to the end of our practice, having engaged some twisting poses with a featured pose, conditioning our sides, the torso, core, and our hips. Now you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. Even as I come to the close of the practice and coming up to seated, you're certainly welcome to stay right here in Shavasana. You've deserved this moment of tranquility, ease in the body and the mind. Complete release and relaxation. When you're ready to move, start with breath. Take 5 slow, deep breaths. Feeling movement gradually return to your body. Then when you're ready, move in slow motion. Roll to one side of your body, briefly here in a nurturing pose. Then gently pressing yourself up to a seated position. Perhaps sitting on your blanket or pillow, crossing your legs. Nice extension of your spine. And then one last movement together. Inhale, extend your arms out and up. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. And then take one more full and complete breath on your own. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.